13th, 2021. Guys, you're looking at the new information on our tropical situation. Invest 92L is what they've called the storm that is in the Bay of Campeche. Now, let me say this. Yesterday, as we were looking at this, throughout the day, checking it out, you could see a kind of a widespread area of disturbance, almost two different storms forming, one very close to the Yucatan and coming off the Yucatan, and then one closer over to the eastern side of Mexico. So this system right here, Invest 92L, according to the CMC and other models, is not going to come up into the U.S. It's going to get caught up in this new wave, and it's going to be pushed back over the Mexican peninsula into the Pacific. That's a good thing because, guys, Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, we've had a lot of bad hurricanes lately and a lot of destruction, and we're still recovering from it in many places. If you go down to Perdido or Pensacola, Orange Beach, there's still damage from last year from Sally. But so when I saw this morning, I said, this is great because the front has changed in that area. And this storm is going to be pulled again across the Yucatan over the next few days. But as I saw that, I got to looking deeper at some of the other models. Now, because it's Invest 92L, and when they do name it an Invest, then they start putting the spaghetti models on here, and that's what you see. But as you dig deeper into what the weather's doing, you can see that we actually are having two storms form. Let's take a look at that. First, let's take a look at the Canadian model called the CMC. And what you're seeing is, again, our attention's in the Bay of Campeche here. Invest 92L that we're just showing is going to move across the peninsula, right in here, and move back out into the Pacific. But coming off the Yucatan, the CMC still shows the storm coming up through Louisiana and then exiting out over around the North Carolina area. Also, notice that, as we talked about before, this time of the year, these storms will gather right off the east coast here, and you can see some small storms moving off. But again, we're going to be dealing with two systems in the same area, Invest 92L and I guess Invest 93L. But first storm moves across, and that's what they're talking about. And right on the tail end of it is the second storm. That does look like it's going to impact somewhere around the Louisiana coast. There it comes, coming up, timestamp 18th, 19th, just like we've been saying. So as what they've done was yesterday, as wasn't just me seeing that there was actually almost like two places of circulation at the very low levels on the surface. And so that has played out now. We'll also see if the Navy model is coinciding with the Canadian model. We're seeing the same thing. Small storm had formed here, moved back over the Mexican peninsula into the Pacific. You can see that, but look what happens right on the tail of it. Even the Canadian model now shows this thing coming into central Louisiana. When you see that, you know this thing could vary left or right somewhat. So New Orleans, you're in the northeast quadrant of this, and we talked about it being a lot of rain involved with the storm over a long period of time. But again, Invest 92L is setting there now as a named storm that's going to move left into the Pacific. But right on the tail of it, we still have problems. And so, as I saw it early this morning, I said, wow, we got a break. But it's that time of year, so maybe we don't have a break yet. But this shows this thing coming in around the 19th. Today's the 13th, so we're 6 days away from a possible impact here in central Louisiana. And that's going to affect Mississippi if it comes through there, the Mississippi River area, and a lot of our state. They always come through, and then they'll curve back out and into the Atlantic. Now, the Navy model that we're looking at, called NavGem, does not go as far out in time as the Canadian model. And looking at the National Hurricane Center, this is showing a 50% chance now of cyclone formation in 5 days. It's calling this one disturbance number 1, and the system going over the Mexican peninsula into the Pacific is called Invest 2. Okay, so I'm not sure if we're tracking two different storms here. But again, 50% chance of cyclone formation from this storm. And it's saying large area of cloudiness and showers over the Bay of Campeche and adjacent land areas that's associated with a trough of low pressure. Slow development is possible over the next several days, while the broad disturbance moves little. And a tropical depression could form in this area by Thursday or Friday. Regardless of development, heavy rainfall will be possible over portions of Central America and southern Mexico during the next few days. So we're going to have to kind of let this thing sort itself out. This is what we have this morning, guys. Let's look at some satellite images. Now, this is over the Gulf of Mexico. The sun has not quite got over this area yet. It is, as I started the video, 6:30 a.m. Central Time. It is 7:45 now Eastern Time, 6:45 Central. And this is what we got. Again, the same thing that we saw yesterday, that this one system, very round, pulling down through Texas. And this thing got in some drier air and kind of played itself out. But it looks like the same scenario setting up for today. Here in the Bay of Campeche, this first system, which is supposedly Invest 92L and not System 1, this could wrap up and move across the peninsula. But then we have another system that's right behind it. You can almost see where it wants to circulate, but all of this is going to move over the Yucatan and pull up into Louisiana. That's what we're looking at now. Again, it's kind of confusing, and I understand that. Florida, you got a little bit of moisture yesterday. I know you guys need a lot more, and maybe this will give you some of it. Maybe not too much, but I noticed the thunderstorms that were coming offshore across the Panhandle and trying to reach down into north central Florida. You were getting some storms, and I noticed even Lake Okeechobee was covered in some thunderstorms for a while yesterday. So maybe you're going to get a break on that. But guys, this is what we have again. I know it's early. We're going to see some updates throughout the day. But if you see the first system, Invest 92L, and they talk about it cutting across the Mexican peninsula, don't forget the one right on its tail. We're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up, guys. Be safe. By the way, subscribe for updates.